Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. It's the Ancient One here, the Bachelor Supreme, the master of the deceptive arts, he who remains, and I am the Phantom Menace. And today, I wanted you to take some time and meditate on, quite frankly, two very simple words. And these two words are, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. And I want you to think about how these two simple words are going to change your life. Just as a man, don't think of yourself as a bachelor or a knee bender for a second. Stop thinking about bending that knee. Or even as a vasectomite. Just as a man, a human being. Think about how these two simple words can change everything about you. When the counterpart comes and looks you in the eyes and she tells you because she knows for sure. And she says, I'm pregnant. And of course, she can prove this. Denial is a predictable response. Every man goes through an element of denial until you come out to the truth on the other side. That yes, it's your baby. Now, I'm not talking about a situation where she's pregnant and it's not your baby, or you don't know who the father is and you're playing the world's most expensive game. Who's your daddy? No, I mean as in you are the father and she is pregnant, and in 8 months or less, or maybe a little bit more, you are going to have a child, a son or a daughter. The words, I'm pregnant, for me, are the last two words I ever want to hear in my life. I would rather hear the words, you're dying. I would rather somebody tell me that you are dying than to hear the words, I'm pregnant. I would rather face the mortality and the finality of my existence and the end of my days rather than hear the words of eternal damnation. The words, I'm pregnant. As a vasectomite, of course, and a sperm freezer, the potential of having a father beyond, the potential of being a father beyond having test tube babies is nothing more than a figment of my imagination, a figment of my overactive imagination. For you, they are more than just a daydream. They are an actual living nightmare. And I choose the words living nightmare because this nightmare is going to come true for you. Especially for those of you that think you're going to be a real bachelor. The ones that think they're going to pull off the bachelor life. You think you're gonna run game for the rest of your life. You think you're gonna be cool forever. I'm here to tell you that you're absolutely not gonna do that. You're not gonna make it past 30 years old without having any children. This is an absolute guarantee. You are not going to be a bachelor for life. You are not going to pull this off. right? You're not going to have many women in your life in a peaceful existence that, is built around you and your personality. That's never going to happen, right? Because right now, somewhere, there is a counterpart that desperately needs someone to fund her existence. And she will do anything to get you to do that, right? Because she cannot do it herself. And guess who will be paying those bills? Those ongoing bills, those never ending, perpetual bills. That's going to be you. You are the one that's going to be funding that existence. And before you start telling me that you're not going to do that, right? That you refuse, right? That you're going to how they say, stand on business. I'm here to tell you that's never going to happen. Your agreement and your approval in this particular case is not necessary. We don't need you to say yes, right? Nobody needs your permission and nobody needs you to allow for anything as far as this is concerned. And nobody's going to force you to do this either. You have to understand you're going to do this to yourself. You are going to get someone pregnant. And when those two words are uttered in your life, the words, I'm pregnant, it is going to send shock through every cell of your body, forever transforming you. It is at that moment that you will know, yesterday was my last day of freedom. Imagine that. Imagine hearing those words, that yesterday was your last day of absolute freedom. And you will never see freedom ever again. In truth, we talk about child raising in terms of 18 years. This is just the legal responsibility. The biological responsibility goes on for an eternity. This is your child for life, right? Now, think about those two words, right? I'm going to keep coming back to those two words because those two words are devastating. On this platform, we really go through many words. We go through many words in one single video, and we analyze those words, quite frankly, with a lot of exhaustive detail. And we look for clarity as well as ambiguity and inconsistency. But also we look to find observable truth. I say observable truth because these things have to be obvious and apparent to us. So if something is going to be good for you, it has to be obvious and apparent and accessible, right? It has to be, a knowable, provable truth. And we've assessed so many words and come to, some very insightful things, in a very short period of time. I find that there's been some very insightful things. I know that I've disseminated a lot of wisdom, but I've also learned a lot in a very short period of time. And these insights have ranged from something that is completely provably true, things that are provably untrue, right? So we've gone from having something that is true and things that we can prove that are untrue. We have found inconsistencies. We have found hypocrisies. We've also found a situation, and I found this in myself and admitted it, which surprised me, where I was expecting to disagree with the information and was persuaded, not coerced, but persuaded through reason and clear deduction why one aspect of a situation is correct while another one can be provably incorrect. Even as the Bachelor Supreme, I continue to be surprised at the amazing information that we can draw from statistical analysis, particularly one that we saw this week in terms of intimacy, realizing that the average human being has had at least 500 intimate encounters by the time they're 25 and will be well on their way to 1,500 by the time they're 30. Now, they might not reach that, but they'll absolutely cross over 1,000 intimate encounters before they're 30. These statistics are very sound and they're very true, as well as the statistics that you are going to get someone pregnant. This is something that I'm really trying to warn men against. Now, when it happens, you have no choice ultimately but to be happy about it, because that's your kid, and indeed you have achieved something spectacular. Not rare, just spectacular, right? Something doesn't have to be rare to be spectacular. Some things are spectacular because they're rare, some things are spectacular because they can be harmful and not rare, right? But you're going to get someone pregnant, and I absolutely guarantee that. I absolutely guarantee that because you can't lie to me. You see, I know you, not as a person, but as a man. And I know that you love intimacy. You love intimacy, you love talking about it, you love thinking about it, you love pursuing it, you love getting it. You even love the danger and the risk of insemination and pregnancy. And for some of you, if that danger and risk didn't exist, you wouldn't feel like you're winning at the end. But I'm telling you, ultimately, you're going to lose that game. Your love of intimacy is really going to cause you your destruction. This is not to imply that I don't like intimacy either, but I got a vasectomy. So intimacy doesn't pose the same danger to me that it will to you. To you, it will ruin your life. For me, it's no more meaningful than a handshake or a high five, right? It's I mean, even with regards to STI transmission, I could just as much get an STI from kissing the wrong person, right? Or touching the wrong person in the wrong place. Now, it's not rare, but some of them can be transmitted just by kissing someone, right? And this may not be an intimate kiss. You could just kiss a family member or whatever, and there it is, right? So, again, nothing more than a high five or a handshake. It's a social encounter for me. But you treat it as a social encounter, but it has real ramifications for you, right? And your love of intimacy is seriously just going to lead you down a path where you cannot recover. Because the information that we've uncovered so far doesn't indicate that you just love intimacy with one person. You love intimacy with a new partner, with an old partner, with the same partner, with a different partner. You love it with an ex, you love it with a colleague, you love it with an acquaintance, you love it even with strangers. You people are getting intimate with strangers. You do it with one counterpart, with two counterparts, in a room full of counterparts. And some of you will be even intimate with a counterpart and another knee bender all at the same time. Which to me, I have to be honest with you, indicates that you're playing for the other side. And you're out here scoring own goals. Right? You're putting the ball in your own goal. Right? You're waiting for the other team. The statistics are staggering. And it's very clear that the quantity, the quality, the variety, and the volume with which people are having intimacy is only going to lead to one outcome, and no one is addressing that outcome. Everybody just seems to think that the consequence of intimacy is heartbreak and frustration. It's not. The only purpose of intimacy is insemination and pregnancy. The other things are just benefits, right? Or liabilities. But the reason for intimacy even existing is for you to get somebody inseminated and pregnant. And as long as you are having intimacy, which I know you are, it means you're going to get somebody pregnant. This is an absolute guarantee. And ironically, I'm still on the interactive internet, right? The collective interactive brain of humanity, the consciousness of humanity, which is the internet, because all your ideas are pouring out on there. And I'm grateful for it because all you've done is exposed yourself. And without saying it, you are saying what the numbers and statistics are saying, right? And ultimately what you're saying is you are out there looking for someone, which means you are pursuing someone. And let me tell you something. What happens to people who go looking for intimacy? Do you really want to know what happens to people who go looking for physical intimacy? They find it. That's it. People who go looking for physical intimacy, they find it. And the more you look, the better your chances are of finding it. And I just want to ask you one simple question. What will you do if you get a counterpart pregnant? What are you going to do if you get that woman pregnant? Now, I asked myself that question many times. And before my vasectomy, I had never answered it before. I had never even tried to answer it because in truth, I didn't know what I would do. And I knew that I didn't know what I would do. But I also knew that that wasn't good enough. But what I ultimately meant and was saying it without saying it is that the reason I didn't know what I would do under those circumstances, and quite frankly, as a person who tries to be prepared to know what they would do under most circumstances, but the reason I didn't know what I would do under those circumstances was the honest and internalized realization that if I did get a counterpart inseminated and pregnant, that the whole procedure would be out of my hands. It would be truly automated from there on, and I would just be a vessel and a tool. I would just be facilitating and things for other people and being used to complete those things. I had no idea what I would do. And even still, I don't even know what that means. Facilitating things for other people. I don't know what that entails. Men say like they feel like a tool. I'm really not sure what that feels like. I'm really not sure what that feels like. Something that people pick up, use, and then drop again, and pick up, use, and drop again. I really wouldn't know what that feels like. I wouldn't allow myself to be treated in that way. And knowing that I would have no choice but to endure that indignation, I decided and I ultimately landed on freezing my sperm and then getting a legal and professional and permanent vasectomy. Right? Then, after only confirming its success in my own life, and that indeed it did offer a path to salvation, true salvation, I now come and offer you this path. I cannot tell you what peace of mind really feels like. When I say salvation, I mean peace of mind. I know that there is somebody out there, even if you already have kids, you are just constantly thinking about what's going to happen about the next kid. You're thinking about the pleasure of making that kid and the consequences of getting that person pregnant. And if you don't think about it before you're intimate, you're definitely going to think about it after you've been intimate. It's a terrible burden. It's always there in the back of your mind, even if you don't think about it. And I know it was there because after getting the vasectomy, It was there, but it was silenced. That inclination would still come back, or you might get a woman pregnant. And then the voice of the vasectomy would be louder and say, absolutely not. And then soon enough, the voice of the vasectomy became louder than the voice of the bender that was within. The bender that was terrified of bending that knee. The bender within that just didn't want to get this thing wrong and knew I was going to get it wrong, and therefore I had to be timid in all of my interactions and encounter, particularly with the counterpart. Because if you get her pregnant and she doesn't like you, she's going to put you through the ringer. She is going to let you have it every single moment of every single day. She'll be filing a motion for you to pay back half of 50 cents that she spent on the child and got a receipt for. I've seen it. It's petty. I've seen it. It's petty. And therefore, I come and offer you the path to a vasectomy. Join us. Become a vasectomite. Free yourself. I guarantee you peace of mind. A peace of mind that you've never had in your life. I have had money and lost money and made it all back again, quite frankly, very, very quickly. And I vowed never to lose it again. But it didn't give me peace of mind. And I realize that now, while money may have brought me some joy, and to some extent not having it has brought me some sadness, it never gave me peace of mind. It really never gave me peace of mind. And I never had peace of mind until I truly became a vasectomite. And I know some of you might think that this sacrifice is suffering. But I assure you, it is not suffering. It is salvation. It is salvation from the infamous baby mama and her mama, who's also an infamous baby mama. The prognosticator discussed this in a far gone tutelage. He was providing his daily tutelage. I'm going to talk about the prognosticator all the time, and I know if he ever hears my videos, he's going to know I'm talking about him. There's a situation of being guilty by association, and even if you admire someone, you still have to sort of use euphemisms. And I'm a person who's all about euphemism and innuendo, right? So, I'm not going to be talking about my real name nor showing my face, but if you know, you know. And the prognosticator mentioned this, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. His words often do. It hit me like a ton of bricks. There are 2, 3, perhaps even 4 generations of baby mamas raising infamous baby mamas. And you are walking into this. They have evolved. They have evolved in a way that, quite frankly, we have not evolved to. They have strategized 5, 6 generations, 5 generations of evolution. That's what we're talking about. And one generation has been strengthening the next generation, where we are finally seeing now a generation that will not be moved. They know all the moves, right? And they can prepare for each and every one of those moves to the point where they will even remain silent against an adversary that they cannot defeat. And they cannot defeat a vasectomy. And if you freeze your sperm and freeze and get that vasectomy after the freeze, right? It's first the freeze and then the cut, right? If you do that, you will be safe from generations of hardship That's all waiting to land on your head. If she doesn't know the legal system, her mama, who's also her baby mama, knows that system. And she'll guide her right through to that system, straight to your pocket. This is salvation. It's salvation from the 18 years of child support that the baby mama and her baby mama and her baby mama's mama is gonna put you through. 18 years. And that child support will keep rising every ever so often, every ever so slightly, just more and more and more. I'm talking about salvation from legal entanglements, from law enforcement, from the judiciary, and ultimately from the fear of incarceration and imprisonment. Because if you don't pay that child support, you are going straight to jail. And I guarantee it. I guarantee it. The same way that I guarantee peace of mind from a vasectomy. A vasectomy will give you peace of mind. All these issues wiped clean. None of them will ever touch you. That's the power of a vasectomy. A vasectomy is true salvation. It's salvation, most importantly, against those damn kids. Man, I cannot tell you what a menace and a nuisance those kids are going to be. You don't realize what a problem kids are because your only experience of childhood is being a child yourself. You have to overcome that instinct and see yourself as the father, trying to deal with yourself and your nonsense. The cost of all the things that you broke. And the fact that you grew up to be resentful and ungrateful to your parents. And that's what your kids are going to be. They are going to be resentful and ungrateful. It is rare to find a grateful child in this world. And don't let your child be like the ancient one. Don't let your child be like the ancient one. One of the reasons why I don't have kids is because I didn't want to have kids that were just like me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? Your kids are going to forego all the knowledge that you try to teach them, all the wisdom that you try to give them, the social investment that you've made into them, just to follow some fleeting and dangerous trends, to follow some loser who can't read and write and has tattoos all over his face. I mean, what are you thinking? You put a tattoo on your face. I think you need to reconsider that option. And your children are going to follow people who do things like that. This vasectomy This vasectomy is truly your best defense against yourself. It is salvation against you, yourself, and your worst instincts, your worst inclinations, your worst proclivities, and your worst habits. All the things about you that make you a problem that existed in the past, they still exist in you now. You haven't changed. None of us have changed. None of us have changed. All we have is a platform to demonstrate our failure in changing. All we have received is some education and some money, maybe a better place to stay. But our instincts fundamentally are still the same, and your instincts are going to betray you as well as your body. You need to be saved from yourself. This is really what I'm trying to get you to think about. You are not smarter than your biology. You are going to get someone pregnant because it's what you're designed to do. And when you do, the shame that they are going to put you through, when you demonstrate your incompetence and your failure in front of everyone, because you're gonna mess this up. You're not gonna be a good dad. Oh, you're not gonna be a good dad. Oh, you're not going swimming and fishing on the weekend, teaching your boy how to catch real. Come on, give me a break. You're not going fishing with your boys. You're going to be doing extra time, overtime, every time in the office trying to pay those bills, trying to keep up with those installments. And when you fail, what they're going to do is they're going to disrespect you, they're going to ridicule you, they are going to be spiteful, right? And you need to save yourself. You need salvation from that embarrassment and the inevitable doom of poverty. Because your kids are going to make you broke, and your brokenness is going to make them poor. And children are the fastest way to poverty and a guarantee that you stay there. All your kids are going to keep you in the hole 20, 25 years. And then they'll leave, screw up their lives because they think they can be kids until they're 30, and then come back and then realize that there's no adulting. It's not a thing. You are an adult and that's it. It's not a verb, it's not an action. Adulting, it's not an action, right? An adult is a noun. It's the name of the thing that you are, right? You are an adult. There's no adulting. This is shameful, man. And you're gonna have people who use words like adulting to describe the failures of their lives. They're going to say adulting is difficult, which means they're failing, which means they're failing. And the more kids you have, oh, the worse it's going to be for you and for everyone. Even your woman, man. Even your woman is defeated by the strife and the load of responsibility. I mean, you just go outside and look at the face of women with children. It's somber, man. That joy and happiness from their youthful days of being the best student in the class, of overachieving, of being fit as an athlete, that joy is all gone. It's really all gone. And they are exhausted, man. The women are just exhausted, especially from raising these kids. But they really try to fulfill their biological imperative in a meaningful way. And it all just means that they carry a heavy load and a tremendous responsibility, you know. And when that load gets too heavy for them, what they will do is try and pawn it onto you or blame you for it and try and pawn it onto you, right? This is not to mention, by the way, that your children are also quite tired of being poor. So your wife is tired of being poor and being tired, and your kids are tired of being poor and being tired. And I'm just going to assume that you're tired of being poor too. And if you don't want to be poor, you need to get a vasectomy. It's the cheapest, simplest procedure that you'll ever have. You do it in one day. You literally do it in one day. You don't even have to spend the night in hospital. Nobody will know. Really, nobody will know. Right? And your kids, like I said, man, they are just tired of being poor. And they are poor because you are poor. But mostly because one night you decided to make a terrible mistake by trying to be cool and trying to prove your manhood and trying to uphold alpha masculinity. I mean, how much of your life has been ruined by the desire to be cool and impressive to other people? Isn't it enough for you to just be happy? You spent your whole youth trying to be cool, all your teenage years trying to be cool. Fine, maybe you'll get to it in your 20s, your early 20s. But at some point you just need to realize that all the people that thought you were cool didn't pay you a single dime. You never got nothing out of being cool. All you did was risk yourself and risk your life. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be cool. I'm saying you shouldn't be foolish. You should just be content with. Isn't it enough just to be successful and happy and rich that now you want to bring other people into it? Can't you just live your own life in peace? Why do you need to drag other people into your life? Somebody must explain that to me. When quite frankly your life isn't complete, you're still building a life, you're still building a business, you're still building a career, you're still putting your house together. It's not the perfect vision. You're probably not even living in the house that you want to live in. You're probably not even doing the job that you want to do. And now you have kids. You haven't even fulfilled your own dreams. And you believe that you can facilitate the dreams of others. This is the problem with male delusion. This is the problem with what happens when you fall in love. You start to believe that you can achieve impossible things with no proof and no evidence. If you are having kids and you're not driving your dream car, living your dream life in your dream house, full of your dream furniture, right? If you're not driving helicopters to work the way you dreamed, it means you're not ready. You haven't hit the pinnacle yet. You had dreams, goals, and you let them all go and sacrificed them all and had kids. And now you're blaming your children for your failures. And I don't think that's fair on the kids. You should have been disciplined enough to build your life, be successful. And once you have a life worth living, then you can say to somebody, a counterpart, hey, look, I have a life worth living. Come and join me in my life and let us have offspring. And in 10 years, she'll ruin it all. But still, at least you've set a standard. Now you're coming in with no standards and only ambitions. And you never achieve your ambitions. And instead of raising your standards, you just lower them. And if you think I'm mistaken, I assure you my details and my deductions are absolutely sound. There's things that I've been wrong about, but the things that I research and know for sure, I quote them with absolute confidence. And should the statistics and numbers change, I will quote the changes and identify the differences for you. No stone has been left unturned. In a lifetime of studying the truth of human trends and patterns, of this I can assure you. Indeed, my patterns have changed and have the patterns of reality. The patterns of reality have proven without a shadow of a doubt that they are open to manipulation and in fact they are malleable. The way people see truth today is not the way they saw truth 20 years ago. And I know I was there 20 years ago. In fact, it's not even the way truth was seen 50 and 100 years ago. Right? Even the interactive timeline that we are walking through is subject to change. And should the right influence affect it, it will change. It will change. But one thing has remained constant, and it is that you are going to get a woman pregnant. Despite the variations of reality and despite the direction that the timeline may go, your outcome is a solid and confirmed outcome. It is no change. You are going to get a woman pregnant. And when you do, you will understand that I am in fact the most serious person broadcasting today. And I am talking about the most serious issue that is going to affect humanity. More severe than nuclear bombs. Because nuclear bombs never get used. We have had 2 nuclear explosions on this earth, and they happened almost 100 years ago. Nobody's gonna allow that. What's the next big issue? Getting a vasectomy. And please go ahead and get that vasectomy. This is the most important message you'll ever hear in your life, because not doing it is gonna prove to be catastrophic. It is absolutely going to prove to be catastrophic for you and for your timeline throughout the end of your history, and your children and your children's children. Your children are only going to get, maybe your great grandchildren are going to get 1 generation of success. And it's going to happen long after you're dead, and it's going to be a fluke. You're not going to see it happen. In fact, your grandkids would have had grandkids and have had grandkids to the point where they cannot even trace their reality to your lineage. And somebody else's kids is going to be successful, not yours. Absolutely not yours. The words are, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. Please think long and hard about how these words will change everything about you and everything around you. My assessment of reality is that it will destroy you. This eventuality and outcome is going to destroy you. But more than that, it's going to make you bitter and spiteful inside. You are going to start to hate the people that you love. That means your heart, your soul has been poisoned. You know what I'm talking about? When you love someone and there's a rage that overcomes you when you see that person, and that love turns to hatred, and that hatred turns to scorn. That's what not getting a vasectomy is going to lead to. When you start to hate the people that you love, you need the true salvation. And your only true salvation is going to be becoming a vasectomite, a sperm freezer, and a vasectomite. You need to freeze that sperm. You need to get a vasectomy. This is always going to be my message because I believe that it is that important. I truly have the capacity to discuss many different issues. Politics, I can do that with some depth. History, I can do that with some depth. Economics, no problem. Absolutely no problem. I could be making movie reviews with some diligence and structure, not like what these people are doing. They're just talking off the top of their head. They really have no structure and no format, right? They just talk. They like the movie. They don't like the movie. I don't know. I think they could do better, but this isn't my forte. I'm sticking to my lane, right? And I'm here to tell men to get a vasectomy. If you're 18 years old, you can get that vasectomy. Protect your seed and protect your solitude. Be stingy with your commitment. Be stingy with your commitment from yourself and from your kids. Do yourself this favor. Remember our creed: to live in the solitude. Solitude demands a sacrifice. In order to be a bachelor, you must lose that which you love, an everlasting exchange, a wife and kids for your life. I am the Ancient One. I am the Bachelor Supreme. I am the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time and your attention. I appreciate it, and I always will be. Have a lovely day.